In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 songs that are currently in the charts as of February 2022. Now, all of these songs I've chosen because they translate very well to guitar. They don't all necessarily have guitar in the original songs, but they translate well to guitar. And they typically have a chord progression that repeats, typically of 4 chords. And these are all songs that I feel I should do tutorials for, but to do something a little bit different, I'm going to put all these songs in the same video and see how it does, basically. So first off, we have the song of the year so far, perhaps, ABCDEFU by GAYLE. This uses 4 chords, typically just played as power chords. We have an E5 power chord, often just called a E power chord, a 4th fret G sharp 5 or a G sharp power chord, C sharp 5, also at the 4th fret but 5th string root note, and then an A5, also known as an A power chord, and those chords last for a bar of each, and we play it with 8th strumming like this. So that is strumming 8th times with what we call 8th strumming to a count of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That chord progression repeats for the entire song. It's loads of fun, and all you have to do is practice this power chord shape, which when we're doing this just uses the 1st and 3rd finger, and we just practice moving that around the fretboard. The next song we're going to look at is the new George Ezra song, which actually only has 3 chords, and if we use a capo at the 1st fret, these are 3 of the easiest chords that we can play on guitar. The A major chord, D major, and E major chord. These are the 1, 4 and 5 in the key of A major, or the capo key of A major. And if you're, not a beginner and you want to challenge yourself, this would be a B flat chord, a E flat chord, and an F chord, which we could play in numerous places on the fretboard, but we'd be having to bar, and the capo basically does the barring for us. So you take your pick. And that can be played like this. Sing it, George. The next song we're going to take a look at is Cold Heart. Now, this has been in the chart months now, but I've not got around to doing a tutorial for it yet, so I wanted to do it in this video. It has 4 chords throughout, and if we have a capo at the 1st fret, those 4 chords are the A minor 7, D minor 7, F, and E minor. Now, the one that some people may struggle with there is the D minor 7, because we have a slight bar, but that is perfect training to be able to do either this way of playing the F chord, or the full F bar chord, or go for the easier F major 7 if you wish. This is just 1 bar of each chord, and that can be played just with 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a human sign when things go wrong, when the scent of her lingers, temptation strong. That that chord progression just loops for the entire song. So put a capo on, play on the beat, and just jam along to the original recording on YouTube, on any streaming platform, and you can do that with every one of these songs that we're covering. So I think it's really exciting to be able to do that with loads of these modern pop songs. The next one has been in the charts a little while as well. It's by Sam Fender. This is 17 Going Under, the lead single from his new album of the same name. This has a couple of options. All the options, if you're in standard tuning, are capo 6th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, capo there. The basic way of playing these chords are just the 4 chords we would expect in what is a capo key of G. So E minor, D, G, and then C add 9 would be the basic chords, just in their standard form. The E minor would be played as the Wonderwall way of playing an E minor, so an E minor 7, D major, and then it's G and C add 9 without the little finger down. So exactly the same as before, but without the little finger on string 1. And that would be played like this. So, obviously a complex strumming pattern there, but the actual rhythm that we're doing is typically root note up, down, up. So if you were to really simplify it, root up, down, root up, down, up, root up, down, root up, down, up. Root up, down, up, root up, down, up, root note, up, down, up. A repetition of that's going to get you pretty close, but when you change chord is a little bit syncopated. It's not always, it's not uniform. Now, as well as the rhythms, there is another way to play those chords, which I think is a lot closer to the original recording, playing the chords this way, so E minor, like this, and then the D major, but kind of D sus2 sound. Then to the C add 9 and the G chord like this, just as we were before. But these ways of playing these chords kind of sounds like Iris when we do this, and it really gets that. It starts to get the refrain of the song. So that's the E minor, that's the D chord, G6 to C add 9. It's called a G6 when you don't have your little finger down. And a C add 9, still a C add 9 whether you have your little finger down or the little finger off, but that's the way I'd recommend that you try it out. And then it's just a case of repeating the rhythms that we hear on the original song. The next one we're taking a look at is Oh My God by Adele, and this just has 2 chords for the majority, 3 chords in the whole song, and we have a capo at the 1st fret to make the capo chords, A minor, G major, and then an F, but if you struggle with the bar chord F, or this hybrid way of playing an F that I'm a big fan of, you'll want to go for the F major 7, and that will be absolutely fine. Okay, so there's no guitar on the original recording for this song, so as a creative choice I've made it sound, or I've taken influence from Rolling in the Deep, another Adele song which has really prominent like acoustic guitar in this fashion. I'm just adding that same thing. I'm adding some syncopation with some upstrums, so again we're going into 16th strumming with that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now. And that has some palm muting on it as well, where the outside of the palm of the hand just sits on the strings here, and that gives this, as opposed to just... And we could even do a similar thing on the GAYLE song as well. We could even give that some palm muting as well if you wanted to. It does give a different sound. That's with the palm muting. Something to play about with, and there's a sweet spot with that. Let's get on to the next song. So it's been much talked about that this is really similar to Thriller, and perhaps other Michael Jackson songs as well, but it's really inspired by Thriller. But playing it, that actual riff, I find it quite funny that that's the same, exactly the same notes as Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, played in a different fashion, much more syncopated, which just means offbeat. Quite a jagged rhythm. I'm doing lots of little... adding lots of this sound in there to give it more rhythm. But all of that start would be harmonically just a B minor chord, and then we have more chords in this chorus, which is kind of a descending... I would play kind of a... just as a little creative choice really, but it's kind of B minor, A major, G sharp minor, I've got a couple of notes ringing out there, and then ending on a G. You have this descending root note is the crucial part of it, which is ripped off from There's no escaping the jaws of the alien this time. This is the end of your life. It's just Thriller. The next song, I just wanted to take a quick look at Heat Waves by Glass Animals. This song was released in the middle of 2020, and it's still right up there on all the streaming platforms, and it's still, people are still listening to this all the time. I've heard it on the radio pretty much every time I get in the car, it would seem. So there's something that this song does really well, and it's 4 chords throughout the whole song, different ways to play it, but a capo at the 4th fret is the easiest way that we can play with the basic open chords: A minor, G major, E minor, and D major. Repeat for the whole song. Another one that's been in the charts for a little while, but I wanted to cover because it's a 3-chord song, easy riff as well. This is Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow. If we put a capo at the 6th fret, we can play this song with D minor, E major, and A minor. And we also have a very easy melody based on the A minor scale, a natural minor, which is something to have a play about with, if you like that song. A whole lot of these songs that have been very guitar led. Sam Fender one's quite guitar led, but this one actually has a guitar riff that uses the A minor pentatonic scale, which is like the scale that every guitarist will learn at some point, you know, this one. And I think it uses it in a really creative way. You know, often A minor pentatonic, we're thinking blues, we're thinking classic rock. This is a really fun riff that's uses hammer-ons. It does move over to position 2 or shape 2 of that minor pentatonic, but it literally just walks, you know, those last notes, and then it does the same on the lower octave. So it's a really fun one to be learning. The final song we're going to be looking at is Beg For You by Chari XCX. Chari XCX is kind of one of those artists that's just kind of defined whatever modern pop music has become or is becoming, because it's always evolving, it's always drawing from different influences and genres. This one's really garage, so I love that, because I'm a child of the 90s, I guess. And we have 3 chords: B minor, A major and E major. This is exactly the same progression as I Don't Wanna Fall In Love. Can't remember the name of that song, but I'll put it on screen now because it's exactly the same. B minor, we kind of do this pick, pick, pick strum, which is quite common, and something that we've done a couple of times in this list of songs. Pick, 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 strum, up strum, or a down strum, totally fine. Whichever you prefer the sound of. Or we could just strum down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And there's an old saying that pop will eat itself. There's even a band called Pop Will Eat Itself because it naturally sort of reuses and recycles the same ideas but has a new person singing over them. And I think that's really important because we've got a very literal version of Pop Eating Itself with Cold Heart, the Elton John kind of remix, with one of the biggest pop stars in the world singing on it, Lipa. But then there's more subtle ways of pop eating itself. Even kind of Sam Fender, there's a lot of hints of other songs in Sam Fender. I think I can hear a lot of Iris in the chord choicings. It's obviously a guitar-led indie, so it is always going to be influenced by people like Oasis and the Beatles because it's using those kind of chords. Adele's is quite reminiscent to a lot of her older songs and a lot of other songs from that era, the late 2000s. Chari XCX one, that's using chord progression from, I believe, the 80s. And then we have 3D Feelings, which is A minor pentatonic, kind of guitar playing 101, but put into the context of a really cool pop song. And I really like that kind of thing. I think there's a real art to that, and it doesn't diminish any of these in any way. Let me know which songs you think I've missed, which songs you'd like me to do in the future, in the comments below, and I hope to see you next time on this Andy Guitar YouTube channel.